When I used to frequent used game stores, I tended to look for games that stood out, either in concept, notoriety, possibly even a good game once in a while. But when I came across Starwinder, I knew I had to buy this thing. Look at this, it's awesome! This cover feels like something from a 1980s sci-fi comic. And then you got this badass looking Fabio on the front cover here, looking like he's the biggest Chad in the room at all times. I didn't research it before buying it. Hell, I don't even think I looked at the back of the case before I bought this thing. I mean, what can go wrong here? It's not like any game has given me that much grief. What nastiness did I put myself into? I have no one but myself to blame here. Now, I'm just kidding. There is more to this game than the worst racing I ever experienced. It also has like 100 cutscenes in it. And you might think, well, that sounds kind of annoying. Well, when your alternative is... yeah. Starwinder, the ultimate space race, has you playing this human called Connor Rhodes here in his bid to conquer these things through racing. And you gotta wonder why these things exist? The game doesn't know either. I'm not even joking, the intro is like, no one knows why they exist, and no one knows what to do with them, so time to go redline on these things. You'll be competing against all manner of species in a bid to collect these. And, what are they? The game doesn't know either. All they know is that they showed up on the tracks as well, and if you get them all, you get to form a pretty looking ball. There are 41 tracks, all separated into quadrants, with one by its lonesome at the end. The first two quadrants are used as time trials. You don't even have to beat the top time, you could just finish the race. They also use this as an opportunity to introduce the various characters you'll have to race against. Each of these characters are like champions of one of these remaining 7 quadrants, with the last 10th quadrant being like the playoffs or something. Time to rip this band-aid fuck! And get this gameplay portion out of the way. I'm not doing that again. It's not like I can just ignore half of the game. Or can I? No. Why not? Okay, shit. Fine. Gameplay! I'm going to start by saying that this game portion is the worst portion.
Well, no shit.
Man, how am I going to explain this? Okay, so this gameplay has a lot of like crap intertwining here. So I actually made a list to try and help us out. And let's just go over the basic racing first. Let's just get into some clips. It'll be easier to explain. Okay, pause it. Do you see that red line down there? Yeah, so that's basically what you want to attach yourself to for every race, as best as you can, because that's how you're going to go the fastest and keep your top speed. Leaving this too long, while you can do it, it is pretty much a game over, unless you're looking to try and skip portions of the track or something. I never bothered. You're usually so damn focused on the red line, nothing else matters. The tracks themselves. There is no difference between them at all other than minor visuals. I'm serious. I played this whole game, and if you showed me any race, I would not be able to tell you where in the game it was. It's like trying to talk about the differences between Assassin's Creed games. The only track or rail I even remembered is the last one. It kind of looks like one of those zappy globes. Well, it's fine. You won't have any time to appreciate any of the tracks because hazards! There are lots of them and you can't avoid them. Little asteroids, big asteroids that don't blow up, little annoying ass drones that'll shoot you for some reason, and that's it. What, you thought there would be more variety? No, instead you just get so many of them that they're impossible to avoid. I do have some good news though. You are invincible. But in return, the game commits the worst gaming sin, at least in my opinion, in these speed racer type games. Every single time you get hit, you fucking stop. Entirely. And you'll hit shit in succession too, so you'll find out that walking probably would have been faster than flying. It made a potentially good racing game into a frustrating slog, and it takes a special kind of fuck up for something like that to happen. You still with me so far? This ties in all with the last part with the AI and the racers you play against, so stay with me. So I think when making this game, they put so many hazards everywhere that the AI couldn't possibly get through them and complete the race. So what do? They make the strongest rubber banding I have ever seen. Seriously, I'm not even joking at this point. Look at this. It doesn't matter how fast, how efficient, how skillful you are. None of that matters. They will be on your ass right from the start like some damn shadow right up into the finish line. And I didn't even mention weapons because they don't matter either. Hit one of the AI? It's fine. They're already passing you. Oh, but the weapons that don't work for you? Well, they work for the AI just fine. There is one particular weapon that will cause you so much pain as well. So these swirly things? Yeah, if you get hit by that, your spaceship turns about 45 degrees. So not only are you getting stopped constantly by hazards, now you need to deal with this like you're in a sailboat in the middle of a goddamn storm. And you're probably think I'm exaggerating, right? Look at these times. Every single race. Slowing to a stop constantly, AI following your ass like it's a ripe piece of meat, turning from all those weapons. It's so jarring and frustrating that you'll actually start to feel sick. And that's no joke. About halfway playing through this game, which is about an hour and a half, mind you, I started to feel motion sickness. Me, who has been playing video games for 25 years, had to stop because of motion sickness. Now, I can actually say I played a game that is so bad, it made me physically ill. So, at about 30% into the game, the best strategy I came up with is ignore everybody and race. Don't bother with the weapons till the last tenth of the race. As long as you are in the grouping somewhere, the AI will just keep running into shit and rubber banding back anyways. The only time anything matters is the last few seconds. And if you see someone pass at the end, make sure you pause immediately and restart. Because for some reason, there are lives in this, and restarting does not count towards that. So why even bother with this game, right? Well, there is one big redeeming quality that keeps this game from sitting in the garbage. And that's...
Well, it's becoming harder and harder to write off newcomer Connor Rhodes as just another pretender. So far, he has fared well against aliens who may be unfamiliar with how he thinks. That is about to change. His next race is against fellow humanoid Deanna Stone. But this may be an advantage for Rhodes as well, unless the stories we've heard are true, and Earthmen really have little or no understanding of their planet's women.
It's the only way I'm keeping him quiet. This game is chock full of cinematics. Every single race, you get a cinematic. Every time you move quadrants, you get a cinematic. And while they're very much kind of bad looking, they're kind of awesome too. In the first two quadrants, you get introduced to each opponent you'll be up against, all of them pretty much different and unique. So let's go through them one by one. The first racer we're introduced to is Coax, and he's a half machine, half... I actually really don't care. But this guy, he is very much a sore loser. Well, I mean, almost all the characters are sore losers, except this next guy. Gthul Glurg. He's a dinosaur whose species originated on Earth. Though his first cutscene you see him is... What?
Glaherg, all are welcome. It is a fine day for living, and any day worth living is a day worth racing, eh?
But yeah, he's pretty chill. He kind of cares about his fame more than anything else, and he loves to talk about himself. He's fine considering how everyone else acts. Kind of funny they still have P.O. boxes, though.
That's right. And kids, you can join the Gathal Glaherg fan club by sending a self-addressed stamped envelope to Gamma Valorum 12, P.O. Box 3678 5498 3438.
Next on the list is Tiana Stone.
Oh yeah, I'm supposed to welcome you to the quadrant. Okay, so you're welcome.
She is the one female character in this game, and her existence just confuses me. So at the beginning, they're talking about Connor Rhodes being the first human, right? Oh. So who's this lady? And why does she have the worst personality of all these characters? I just don't get it. Who designed this person? Look, man, I know you're going through a rough divorce right now, but we have to add a woman to it. The higher-ups say so. Fine, tell them I'll do it. But I'm making her a bitch. There is also this cutscene here where she is asserting dominance over the reporter and just kind of floats off after. Maybe she's more of a Chad than Connor after all. Now we get to Dexter. This guy put me down a rabbit hole purely because he sounds like Engine from Crash Bandicoot.
Know you no better than to confront me in my own domain? For 40,000 centuries, the people of Neos have mastered every challenge offered to them.
The guy who voiced this was Andrew Iverson, and while he was an Engine, he was the production assistant for Stepfather 2, Make Room for Daddy. Another fun fact while I'm at it is the newscaster who has the biggest role in this game is voiced by John St. John, Mr. Duke Nukem himself. I got a bit off track there, sorry. Where were we? So Dexter is just a whiny loser. And gone, he's a shapeshifter. Hey, they can't all be winners now. I mean, he turns into a chair out of embarrassment, and he gets sat on by Cthulhu. There's also a scene where he pretends to be the reporter and complains about being robbed. You know what? I take it back. He's okay in my book.
Neuron 9, I must admit you didn't seem to give that last race your all.
I am incapable of performing at anything but my optimum level.
Don't say giant sperm, don't say giant sperm, don't say giant sperm, don't. Neuron 9 is an ancient sperm. Fuck.
Connor Rhodes just keeps on coming.
Supercomputer that races, for some reason. I mean, there isn't much else to say about this guy other than he also complains a fair bit and sucks at predictions. And finally, we got last year's champion, Zach Kilmer. This man, I'm guessing, is supposed to be the big bad guy. His scenes are probably the funniest out of all of them, though. I especially like the one where he thinks about killing hundreds of people to shave off a few seconds off his time.
I could have cut a few seconds off my time, but it really wouldn't have changed the outcome.
But you would have killed hundreds of innocent spectators. Aren't the lives of sentient beings more important than a slight improvement in a losing performance?
Can I get back to you on that?
Can you kind of tell I don't know what to say at this point? Like, after winning all the races, it's revealed that Connor Rhodes had the missing piece. The missing piece that I totally mentioned before and didn't forget to put into this script the whole time. Upon completing the orb, it turns out that the orb itself was really a qualifier for an even bigger racing competition. This game is so damn polarizing for me. I liked the cutscenes. They were campy, fun, even had me laughing at times. But the game itself is... There were points in this game where I just considered stopping altogether, even if the game length's only like 4 hours long. This game is a conflicting mess, and look, just do yourself a favor and watch the cutscenes on YouTube or something instead of playing the game. You'll thank me later. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe for more of this. Ballinair signing out. Have a good one.